Hey guys, you are welcome back to another episode on In the Meantime. And my name is Courage. I am super excited to be here today. We've already started talking even before all of this. Yeah. But I have an amazing friend with me here. Sharon, you are welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. We made it.
I know. It's been like since last year we've been talking about this.
Yes. I'm so happy to be here. It's been a busy day, but I feel like I'm in your living room and we're just having a chat. I'm excited. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And I'm really happy for us to, to get to talk about everything we're going to be chatting about today. We are, I think from the title of the episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about life in Dubai, resilience, transition, changes, all the nitty gritty of a life, especially as we're winding down to the end of 2025. I do know that this is that time of the year where we have all the, either you give up or you just try and then, we have all the things that come out at this time. But I think for me, I always try to encourage people that you can still do what you need to do even before the year ends. And if you don't get to finish everything, carry it over to the next year because there's no race with this thing. So we're going to just talk about how life has been for us here in Dubai, the transitions. And I do know that this city gets you to a point in life where you're like, I need to really be on my toes and keep things moving. But there's this beautiful balance that I think I see so many amazing women of faith hold with career and family and life. And I want us to get down to all of that. But before we do, an icebreaker question for you. What is one lesson you've learned lately or maybe, in 2025 so far? Yeah.
Oh, goodness. A lesson I have learned is definitely, I think, and only now it's really hit me, life is not that straight line.
Ooh, yes.
And it's taken me a while to get there because I've always been, do this, tick the box, do this. I've been so structured in the way that I've done life, career, everything, even parenting when I was a new mum. It had to be a certain tick box. And I think I've just landed this year because it was super busy 2024. 2025 is even more busy. But it's okay in the chaos. I think the chaos used to stress me, like it should be perfect. So I think that's a big lesson that I've just learned and embraced. And it takes away a lot of that kind of anxiety or stress when you just have to kind of keep moving with, the season that you're in.
And it just gives you like this sense of freedom.
Yes. Which I'm enjoying actually.
It's beautiful. Yes. I love that so much because I kind of feel like maybe I've also gone through that. Like there's this art of just letting things flow.
Yes.
I remember somebody was telling me the other day, I've heard you say you go with the flow a lot. I'm like, I go with the flow because I'm kind of like, I'm used to being very rigid. Like I have this plan, I have all these things, but also I'm very free at the same time. I don't know how I do it, but somehow I'm like, there's some things that I do know that this is God's thing. I do not need to have my hands in this. So like there's so much freedom and ease with life.
And that's, I think that's that go with the flow. I used to hate that statement. I'm like, go with the flow. I haven't got this far in life, but going with the flow. And there is an element of the two, I think. I think, you need to kind of have the vision and strategy and faith with it. And there is that bit of going with the flow, but in my direction is probably letting God lead, surrendering. That go with the flow is what. But before I used to be like, go with the flow.
I just can't.
Life doesn't work that way. So I get it.
So, but let us get to know you a little bit more. Tell us who's Sharon, where you from. I love to get people talk about how long they've been in Dubai and just whatever you feel like you want to share with us.
Do you know who's Sharon? I think I've been on this who's Sharon journey for the past maybe 4 years. Very multifaceted, I think, because when people ask what do you do, I was like, I don't actually have one answer. And before it used to be like, is that okay? But it's okay actually now.
Yes, it is.
So I'm Sharon. One title, I guess, is I have a corporate role. I've always been in corporate marketing for 16 years. But I've realized the talents and the skill that God has given me, and that has actually allowed me to branch into so many things. So that's one side of things. And I really enjoy what I do. I love marketing. I love connecting with people. I love allowing brands or people to really profile themselves. I'm also the founder of Let's Talk DXB. So Let's Talk DXB is a communications media platform, predominantly started as a podcast platform, and now we've branched into really building a community in Dubai and internationally, but in terms of physically being here. That allows me to use my marketing talents because I'm currently doing it all. Brand, PR, production, everything that goes into it. Multifaceted. But it's definitely showed me how skilled I am. It's built my confidence in actually I can grow something with my hands by myself. I'm a mother, so I have an amazing son who's now 5. that keeps me very busy as well. I'm a Christian, and I think I'll talk about my faith and my journey and what that has looked like over the years. And I'm just, I'm definitely in a season. I'm a person that just wants to learn and grow and develop. I've invested so much in myself, whether it's therapy, courses. I was at a conference today full of amazing women, just to soak up and learn and see how much more I can grow. I think I'm in that season where I just want to keep on learning.
I love that so much. And I love the fact that you said, I just want to keep up learning and growing, because I do think that sometimes when people have achieved so much, you're like, okay, I'm done now. But I don't think life is like that. I feel like you stop living when you stop learning.
Right.
So you need to keep learning and being like, okay, I'm curious about this now. The world is changing too. So I really love that about you. And I also love what you do. So it's amazing. And I just I remember when I started working at the law firm, I was like, I'm texting Sharon. And it was just so, I was like, Sharon, what?
I was like, let's speak, because considering the different things that we do and where we are, there's so many similarities.
So many. And I just love the fact that I feel like all the skills that we gather from all these experiences, they help us to do what we do.
What we do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. But then I want you to just take us a little bit through your journey in Dubai when it comes to let's say career.
Yep.
And when it comes to singleness and the transition of that, and just how life has been for you over the past decade and almost somewhere and a half.
I think I'm ready to write half of a book. Not all of it, but half of the book is there. So I've been in Dubai for 13 years. And anytime, because there's so many new people in Dubai as well. So when I say it out loud, they're like, I've done 3 months. I've done a year. I can't even picture my career being here for that long. And I was the same. Everyone 2 years. It was quite tied.
The mark is 2 years
because it was tied to your visa. Then, your employment visa was 2 or 3 years, and you're like, okay, that's my make or break. Do I stay? Do I renew? But luckily, I had family here many years, so we used to come on holiday, and I just loved. I think I loved it even more then because it was unknown. And I'm kind of in that. I like that kind of exploring new territories, challenging myself. So I came 13 years ago, which, to be honest, I have friends that have been here for 20 plus, but it's been a journey. And it's been a journey. Yeah, people have built their lives here. And Dubai's allowing that a lot more than before. It was quite tied to work. So I came with my company. So I was with a big corporation in London, and they had a very small team in Dubai. So I knew I wanted to leave the UK. So that's where I was based. And I was like, no. I remember one day I was working late. It was cold. It was raining. I was taking public transport, and I was waiting for the bus. And I was just literally I need to get out of here. I found myself saying it out loud. So people thought I was drunk or crazy. I was just so frustrated with where I was. I knew it was time to try something new. So quite early on, I had that taste for kind of exploring different places. Applied for a global mobility program, which is fully funded.
Wow.
I applied the first time and got rejected. And I was like, I'm not giving this up.
I try again.
My persistence, I was like, no, God, there's, at the right time. And it was the right time. The right time, maybe 8 months later, the application went through, and I came to Dubai for 4 months.
Oh, wow.
And that was great because it felt like a mini holiday. You're working, but not. You're exploring. I was young. I had no responsibilities, met so many great people. And it just so happened that I also made an impact in the team. They were like, okay, we'd like to build out the team. We'd like you to stay.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'm staying. So went back for a little bit, sorted out, because I had a property with my sister, sorted that out, came back. So that was the beginning of my Dubai journey, which I thought was going to be 2 to 3 years. And I was always in corporate marketing. So working for big corporations, helping them kind of build the brand across Middle East and Africa. So I'd always had that kind of, I'm in corporate, I want to stay in corporate. This is my role. I'm going to climb the ladder, and that's going to be me until I retire. But I've had many seasons in Dubai. I came single, just exploring Dubai, enjoying. I very much like my own company. So enjoying my own company, doing it alone. Everyone used to be like, you're going to move to the Middle East. And then not many people knew about Dubai. Why would you do that as a young black woman going to the Middle East?
Back then, it wasn't that popular.
It wasn't. And I think people just branded, obviously, the Middle East and, the media and some of the scary news and everything that you hear with it. So, I was really excited. So then I stayed. I then met not married now, but there was a season of me being married in Dubai as well. So building my
You
family.
met your husband here?
I met him in the UK, but just before I was coming on the secondment. So a big part of our relationship was actually me between UK and Dubai, actually. And then he relocated here as well. So I'd say a big part of our kind of like adulthood marriage was in Dubai for sure. Because that was like 10 years total. So married in Dubai. So I've gone from like single, exploring, getting married, having a child, being a mother, getting divorced. So many seasons. But that chapter, which is the hardest chapter, I'll probably say the second hardest chapter in my life, as this is what propelled me now to doing all the things that I'm doing now. And I can say that with a smile now, and I can say it understanding the purpose behind it. But at the time, definitely not.
You didn't see like
but you know, it's always that way in hindsight. And like, you know, when God reveals things and being disciplined with where he's taking you. So I've had a lot of chapters, and now I'm in my single chapter, solo parenting, building out something for myself. So it's been a journey, not an easy one. I'm saying it very lightly, but it's been very reflective in terms of just even how God has sustained me, you know, in a foreign country doing all of these things. It's quite easy to want to just go back home. And home for me, to be honest, the UK, it's been a long time since I've lived there. But, you know, naturally family's there. But the way he sustained me and actually propelled me for greater in some of the hardest times. So that's why I say I'm like halfway through a book, I think.
I think at some particular point in our journey in this, like as an expat, I just want to limit it to Dubai. As an expat, I think you get through so many experiences and changes from the inside out. I think it's less about where you went to, it's more about you as a person.
So right.
Because I feel like when you grow up in a place, it's where your identity comes from. Like, who are you without your family? Who are you without those things that you were identified with? Like, it's a lot of shedding when you move to a new place and you're like, I need to pick up myself again. I need to find out who I am, what I value, what I like. How do I want to live life here? So I really love that you said that. And just the fact that you said, when you're in the thick of a storm, I do not think we even understand what is coming.
No.
And I just would like maybe for us to build off of that, because I do feel like so many of us, we give up in the middle of our story. And I do realize that now I'm grateful for the generation that we are in, because so many people are waking up to the fact that there's more to who you are and where you are. It's not only limited to that environment or that country or whatever it is. There is so much more that life can offer and God can give you. So what would you say to someone who is like in the thick of life right now and you're like, oh, maybe there's nothing ahead of me or something like that, like or even you, how did you find the courage to be like, there's so much more to my story, I don't want to stay here, and I can do something about it. And I can start new projects and stuff.
And I speak to that because that journey was not easy. You know, people will look at me in hindsight and be like, oh, she went through a divorce, she's solo parenting, she's got it together. It was ugly, you know, it was ugly. Like my tribe that, you know, I felt safe with, they've seen that transition to be like, God, Sharon is standing. How did she? I saw it. So it is so hard. I think for me, I just knew, I just felt like this could not be wasted. You know, the heartache, the rebuilding, the, you know, grieving the loss of marriage, what I wanted my son's family dynamic to look like, you know, all of these things. I was like, God, there just has to be more. I didn't know what the more was, but there was just something in me where it can't just be this. Like it can't be wasted. It just can't be this. And I wrestled and I did all of the emotions that anyone I think, you know, would go through such a big, like I always say, the carpet was swept underneath me and I just fell on my face. So I did the work though, and that did the work. I know it's a common term, but my doing the work is for the first time in my life as a 30-plus-year-old, I went straight into therapy. And I probably didn't even do it for myself that much. I probably did it more for my son. Because I was like, okay, I need to be whole, healthy, understand what's happened, process.
To give him the home that he needs.
You know, I want to be at peace. I want him to be at peace. My house has always been peaceful. I'm so grateful to God for that. But I wanted him to see the happiest and healthiest version as much as possible. So I think there was probably more of like looking at my son and thinking, I need to do this for him. But as it unraveled, it was the best decision for me, right?
Yeah.
I think I was able to unpack so much. I was in solitude. I say my wilderness season.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very good with my own space and my own company.
That is so good.
I love my own. I travel by myself.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
I do know that there's so many people who do not like their own company.
Yes.
Or do not even like the sound of their voice and their own
Yes.
thoughts. I do think that's something that if you feel like you're one of those people, you should take out time to get to the bottom of that, because your own voice is beautiful.
Yes.
Your thoughts are beautiful, because that's even when you get to hear God properly. And there's so much that can happen with people and in community, and so much more that could happen with you too. So I always say it like, in solitude, I get to know myself better. And when I get out in community, I get to practice how to love my neighbor as myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I tell people, like, I've done quite a few solo trips, or, I'll go to the cinema, but I actually prefer going to the cinema myself. But I'll tell people and they're like, by yourself? They look at me like the weirdo. I'm like, yeah, by myself. Why would you do that? Are you not lonely? I'm like, no, there's books I can read. And I'm always go, go, go. My lifestyle is very busy. So I see it as a blessing that God is giving me the resources and the time to just sit by myself and be still.
Yeah.
I think it's like, that's like, I'm so grateful for that time. So I was always okay by myself, actually, as much as like, yes, I was married and I grieved the loss of like, because I think marriage is beautiful. And I think it's even given me the opportunity to actually study the word around marriage. I didn't do that. I was quite young. I didn't know my faith, my religion was in a different space, but it gave me time to just sit alone. These things happen and you can spiral into so many different directions. And I don't judge anyone. Someone might just actually always just need to be around people and always want like unhealthy distraction and unhealthy
we all process
company.
Things differently,
so differently.
And also grieve differently.
Yes, yeah.
You have a different response.
Exactly. But I'm so grateful to God that he allowed me to apply wisdom in terms of just being sensible with it. It's sensible in the way of like, sit, it's uncomfortable, it's ugly, you're going to cry, you're going to be tired, it's messy. And I wasn't good in messiness. Like I said, it all had to be perfect tick box. So for me, I was like, how is this my life?
And sometimes I do feel like God allows messy for people like
yes,
us.
he was showing me.
He wants you to know it can break, and then you come back to him, like you go back to him to pick it all back.
Courage.
Because in a way, when we have everything under control, it feels like we're the ones doing the work.
Yes.
So it's like you remove the factor of that God, of the God in your life. So he's like, okay, I'm the one in control here.
So
you need to come back to me. So yeah, there have been seasons like that in my life where I just knew it was God. I knew he was the one doing all of this. And I'm not saying God intentionally harms us or does those things.
Yeah,
I just feel like sometimes he could let it just fall down, so you could crawl back to him.
Surrender.
And then you guys could figure it out from there.
I probably realized that earlier this year, March, and I'll tell you why. But it was so messy. And I remember telling my therapist, I was like, I don't understand how I've got here. Like, it's like my life could not be this. And there was probably a bit of like ego, pride, like how can I, the titles of how can I be a single mom? How can I be a divorcee? I put so much like negative weight towards it because it was not what I wanted or intended my life to be.
Yeah.
But equally the blessings of how can I have so much resilience to actually rebuild or leave something that was unhealthy or, be the best version for my son to see me grow and all of these things. So I really had to change the narrative, but the solitude was something. So for 3 years, really just focusing on me, my son, my household. And rebuilding takes time. I remember our church was telling me that I hated that word. I'm not patient. I've gotten better. So I remember I did a divorce cares. I was so intentional. Anything I could grab to help me, I grabbed it that I thought was healthy.
But so I think that's amazing. That's what we should do, actually.
Yes.
Because sometimes this, like you said, we can go either ways. Like someone just sits in all of that and decides not to take any step further. But then I do feel like when you have this, I feel like it's a glimmer of hope.
Yes.
Like you're like, I'm hopeful that it can be better. And I need to actively partner with God to make it better for me. Because I just think sometimes if you sit, nothing really happens like that. Like I always say God needs something to bless.
Give him
like
something.
Give him something.
Yeah, faith
give him
without
something
works is dead. Right. Yeah.
But I love that.
Yeah. So I grabbed anything. But it wasn't, again, because I used to have people that maybe had been through it and gone through the other side. You'll be fine. Take time. I'm like, don't speak to me. This weight.
Especially the time heals all wounds.
Oh, don't tell me that. I don't want to hear these cliche statements. I am hurting. It hurts. but I had to just literally push myself through. So, resilience, you hear all of these words, but it does take that, because it's really hard when you're having to navigate something that you didn't expect your life to be, or you're not where you want to be.
Yeah.
I think you have to even grieve that as well, and just think about, okay, what's next, and have that hope for something. And it's day by day. As an impatient person, I think I probably made it worse, because I was like, right, I need to feel good now. Yeah, it's been like 6 months. Okay, I need to feel over it, right?
When are we done here?
When are we done with this? When are we done with going into therapy and crying? Like, I was so over it, but it is that process.
Yeah.
So I encourage anyone to, even if it's the smallest step, I know even sometimes just getting up in the morning is exhausting. Yeah, you haven't slept, or you're worried about your day, or the anxiety just spikes as soon as you open it. I've went through and sometimes I still get peaks of these like, ooh.
I think it's the whole human experience, you know.
Right.
And I think people need to practice enough grace. Grace for yourself as much as you give it to others.
Yes.
Like, okay, it's a step-by-step journey. Some days I will have those highs and I will have those lows. Some days I'll spiral.
Yep.
Some days I'll get triggered. Like, I think a few weeks ago I got triggered by something, and then I was like, but why am I still getting triggered by this? Like, it was like a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm like, why is it still triggering me? It's all part of the whole thing.
But the wisdom to ask yourself that question rather than like brush it off or take that frustration into something else.
So it had to take me back to be like journaling again and looking and talking to my mentor or something, like just finding out like, why is it still bothering me? And just like getting to the root of it so I can actually plug it out. So, but then talking about resilience, I'd just like to maybe find out from you what would you define it now?
Yes.
Now that we're in hindsight.
I think resilience is accepting the ugly, because there's an acceptance. I think for me, resilience was accepting, okay, you are divorced and you're a single mother and you live in Dubai, and yes, you're going to have to rebuild your life. I had to say it out loud, and I had to accept it, and I had to remove the shame to then propel myself into, okay, I am a single mum, but I'm going to spend this time learning my son and researching what does it take for a single mum to raise a boy by herself. I needed resources and help. So the resilience to just sit and read a book or listen to a podcast and not try to ignore it and just like block it out. I had to live in my reality. And I think sometimes when you have the resilience to say it out loud and live in it, and get up each day and then work to, how am I going to unpick this? How am I going to rebuild? What does my life look like as a single person now? That for me was resilience, because it's doing the day-to-day stuff to get you to the next.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you've built an amazing community, and you have a lot going on. A lot going on. But I just want to hear from you, like, how have all these experiences, opportunities, and projects that you've done, how have they shaped the Sharon that you are today? And what are some of the key lessons that you've learned along the way?
Yeah, do you know what? Let's Talk DXB has literally been the biggest blessing out of all of the madness that I've gone through. And you could never have told me. I say this a lot and people don't believe it, because they just see what they see on social media, and I'm here and I'm wearing makeup.
That is the thing with social media and human beings these days.
When I tell you, the first time I started, so I was probably getting 3 hours sleep a day. I wasn't sleeping, I was unraveling, I was exhausted, I was trying to show up for myself, for my son. And I say this is God, because this is not my nature. I was never really a very open person. Like, everything had to look good. So, and I was raised Ghanaian, West African culture, but in our household, you don't talk about things, you don't talk about personal things. You definitely don't go out and start sharing your journey on a podcast.
Don't let the neighbor know what's going on in here.
You do not do that. So I was always taught to be like, keep your business to your business. And to a degree, yes, there has to be safe spaces, but equally there is community, there's growth, there's God when you actually are a bit more vulnerable and sensible with your vulnerability and who you give that to. So I just remember I was literally just sitting down one day. I'd spent my first Christmas as a single mom. It was very different. I'm not normally used to having people around me over Christmas, being married. And I think I intentionally wanted to see, like, how would I feel just doing it alone? And I was sitting there, I just remember God was like, open your mouth. And I was like, what's he talking about? He's like, open your mouth, open your mouth. It was just something that was ringing in the back of my mind for a very long time. And then TD Jakes, so I was listening to a sermon and he was talking about COVID time and how unnormal it was. And, you know, sometimes when you go through these big things, you have to use that for purpose. It was not really connected to divorce, but there was messaging in it that was resonating to me in terms of like using something that could be so traumatic or heavy for something else. I was like, okay, I got that message. Then I went into Borders, bookshop in Dubai. And on the shelf, there is a TD Jakes book. Now, I didn't know Borders sold Christian books.
That is my face every time I walk into a bookstore in this country.
I'm so baffled. I'd never seen it. And I went to
Yeah.
Borders a lot because I buy my son books, lots of books. So I know the store very well. It was there by itself. It looked used. It was like 25 dirhams. It looked like someone had used it, returned it. And it was the only Christian book and the only TD Jakes book there. So I bought it. And it was very much about building, writing down, who are you? What are you good at? And I remember just working through it over the Christmas time. And I'd write things down like, I love building community. I love storytelling. I love speaking to people. And then I connected the dots. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to start this more so for healing. So I did my first episode, Divorce in Dubai.
I did watch that.
You watched it? Oh, you need like 2 hours. I unpacked, but it was unpacking that I needed to do. And I didn't think I was ever going to share it.
Yeah.
So I was with my sister and she was looking at me like, I didn't know you went through that in your marriage. I didn't know that bit. Like, I think I could see from her reaction.
She was like,
and that's when I was like, Sharon, you don't share, even in safe spaces. Like I've known Anne for 30 plus years, sat on it. And then again, that message came, you know, share, be open. And I was like, God, if this is the direction I'm going, you need to cover me. Because I was scared. Lots of families still thought I was married. There was a lot of shame. I was still quite exhausted in the early stages of navigating divorce and everything. And then I put it out. And then let's talk DXB. So it was really... It was healing initially. Then I was like, okay, there's purpose, there's calling, because it keeps on coming up in my mind. And then this is where we are now. And it's allowed me to go into so many things. So even just me as my personal brand in terms of like profiling myself, speaking opportunities, really showing off my own skills and talents, helping others, you know. So I'm so grateful for it. But I never thought it would be this. You could never tell me, you know, that this is what I would be doing and how I'd be showing up.
I was just having a conversation earlier today how sometimes when things happen in our lives, it feels like the end of the world. Like there's so much, I don't know how to describe the type of heavy grief that you can feel like nothing else is going to work out. Nothing good is going to come out of this. True. And I think it always happens in hindsight, but I feel like as I grow older, I'm getting better at grabbing it in the middle of it. But whatever we go through, whether it's especially the hard seasons, the mindset shift is probably for someone else. And it's not like every single hard season you get is for you to go, you know what I mean? Right, but then even if you don't do that, like publicly, there's probably someone you will meet or cross paths with that will require that story or that testimony or you telling them, oh, I actually went through this. And even if it's not the same thing, the human experience is very generic, even though it's unique at the same time, but it's universal and it's generic.
You're
and
so right.
Whatever you're going through now, someone went through it like 2,000 years ago. And it's just different characters and different people and different places.
Thank you. Even if you go through the Bible, a lot of this stuff is not new.
There. So I always just feel like even if I didn't share it publicly like this, it's probably for someone somewhere, someday, wherever. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to pick up myself and I'm going to get moving. Because that's also how I started my podcast. Like when I came here, I just felt like I was adulting by myself. Everything was new. Life was hard. I was just fresh out of uni. And it was like a lot of things just away from home. I used to have I wouldn't say a job, but I had a business that I really loved and I felt God tell me to put it down. And then it was just a lot of transition and changes and it was so difficult for me.
Wow.
And that was how I started blogging, then transitioned to a podcast. And then the time when I got really sick and ill here in Dubai and it was so bad, I quit my job. That was the first time I ever quit a job.
Wow, Coach, you've been through it. I was like, I need to hear your story. I didn't know all of this. I'm like, what?
You're not like the sister on the other side.
What?
Yeah, but I think I'm just trying to really connect the dots and relate to what you were saying. Like some hard seasons in our lives, they produce a lot of things because I felt really stuck where I was. And I felt like most of the transitions that I've had, especially when it comes to jobs, I've always heard God start telling me it's time to move.
Yeah.
But then I've already too comfortable and I don't want to move. And then he pulls it away from me in such a way that it's so painful.
It's so aggressive, right?
Yeah. And I'm just like, so now I'm in a state in life where whenever he tells me move, I move.
You're doing it?
I'm like,
I'm not
bye.
at that surrender yet. I'm that stubborn person.
I'm scared now. I'm like there's this holy reverence. Not like that scared of God, but I'm just like, there's this reverence where I'm just like, I don't want to go through that kind of pain.
You're
but
so
I know it
right.
will produce something nice or good at the end. But I just don't want to put myself through that right now. But we don't know. We don't know what other thing I might be acting a fool there for.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think that's the mindset shift which you have, like whatever is going on with me right now, it's probably for something greater than me.
Yeah.
It's for something greater than me, for someone else, you know. Like sometimes when I talk to people about like what I went through, especially health-wise, and still going through it actually, and then someone is like, but you know, you really don't look like you're going through this much, you know. But I'm like, it's just God. It's really just God.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really encourages me to do everything that I'm doing. And I just want people to get to, especially now with the name change, because I don't know if you noticed.
I wanted to ask, I was like, I'm going to take over this podcast with so many questions. I noticed that just this other day.
Yeah, so I changed the name, and because I'm just coming out of another health relapse. So I'm just like, I think it's the same feeling I had the first time. Like there's so much more to life. I do not want to remain the same way. I want to live my life properly and just like focus on things that matter. I think that time was the same. This time is the same, but just a little bit different, and with so much more intentionality on life
and wisdom behind it.
Yeah,
because once you go through, if you don't learn, then what's the point?
Yeah. So I think because I'm still ambitious.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm really working on prioritizing rest, community, being kinder to myself, and just really doing what God has called me to do, not just everything else, and not just like,
remove the noise. Sometimes you then have to remove a lot of noise and say no to a lot of things for yourself,
and even if
for
they're
your
good.
health. Yeah, even if they're good, even if they seem like the best thing ever, sometimes you just have to say, I can't.
It's just, so there's just this beautiful shift that happens.
Wow.
And for me, I've loved watching your journey too. So I'm just like, I really like that. I'm just like, keep sharing it as much as you can. And I know that God actually really covers, especially when we do it like on platforms like this. I think for me, that's a constant prayer. I'm like, protection 100%. And covering, and let it find the people that it's meant to find, and touch them and meet them where they are. But I know you're a woman, you're very how should I say, career oriented.
I think I am. I did question myself a bit, but I think I am, because I went through a phase of like, but I think it's in me. No, I'm lying to myself.
But I think for me that's beautiful. Like you did more corporate, then you branched into more creativity and everything. So I was more of creative, and then I branched into corporate. I love work. Not like work.
Are you enjoying the corporate side?
Yeah, I love the structure it gives me.
The structure. Okay,
that's what I love about it. Like, it's not fun all the time, but I love the structure it gives me.
Yeah.
So, and I do know that people find it hard to balance. Like, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but then I just feel like people find it hard to sometimes juggle between, I'm a career woman, or and then at the same time I'm doing this creative thing where I'm a mom at the same time. They're like, one of them has to go, or two of them have to go, and I have to do only one.
Yes.
So, and you're doing all of them.
Yeah.
I don't have a kid yet, but I'm doing a little bit of some of that.
Yes.
So I want you to just speak into that, like, because I do feel like I would want to give somebody the permission to be like, you don't have to forgo the things that you actually enjoy doing just because you're like, oh no, I'm supposed to be only one thing.
Yes.
Like, there's no blueprint or like things that you have to follow.
You're so right. I love that question actually, because I've gone on my own journey like this. Again, like career-wise, I was like, I'm going to do corporate, climb the ladder. And again, I think that kind of period of divorce, I think the period of divorce taught me that life is not that, life doesn't always go to plan. I think I only just got hit by that at that time in my life. So you can be multifaceted. I think you can embrace so many. I'm embracing so many different sides. Yeah. We're actually a really creative family. I was speaking to my sister who is doing this and that, and she's like, Sharon, we're so creative, but we've been quite boxed in from a cultural standpoint to be like, get your degree, get a good job. And I understand the stability. And I've still got that embedded in me in terms of stability.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of like, quit my job and just get up and go. I'm quite sensible still.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful. I wish I had the bravery. When you said that, I was like, you did?
I quit my job, got a better one.
But see how God works. Because sometimes you have to step out.
Yeah,
you need to know what
one.
you're quitting for.
I think it's moving with wisdom and discernment.
And discernment.
Like, just be quitting your job like that. Have a backup plan, a backup plan.
That's the thing. Yeah. So I would be that type of person.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful that God gives me the strength to do it all. Because there are, like today, I sat there and I was like, "Ooh!" But this is a norm for me. It's not like I normally do a lot of things. I'm quite an active person, but yeah, to be able to parent and solo parenting, and I don't take that lightly at all. The weight of just thinking and planning. I'm always thinking about Zane when he's 20 and he's only 5. So I always want to forward think for his future. And I want him to see me do all the great things. I took him into the studio the other day. I show him the stuff that I'm doing. Because obviously there's times I'm not around. I'll miss bedtime. I have to travel for work. But I want him to see what that means and understand why mummy's working so hard. And still being able to do my corporate career. And that's not easy to balance. My job is very time consuming, mentally draining.
Trust
but
me, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm in the middle of it.
When you work in that industry, but it takes a lot of discipline. I think for me, I love what I'm doing with Let's Talk DXB. I love these opportunities. It thrives me. I've been up since 5:30 and I'm like so excited to be here with you. Like my energy's not drained at all. That's why I knew God has called me to do this 100%. And I'm using the talents that I built my career in for 16 years. So it's just kind of all worked out. But discipline, rest when you need to rest. I wasn't good at that. I'm still not great, but I put in my phone for like 3 weeks' time, do nothing. A Saturday where it says do nothing. I hope I keep to it.
We need do
because
nothing.
We have to do that. Otherwise, I will always find something. I'm not good at sitting still. And I take myself on trips and I do all these intentional things now. But balance. There's no such thing, I think, in my world. I think it's some days are going to be, these next 3 months are going to be busy. I'm pushing through seasons. That's it. And there's times where I fully just get to invest in Zane and spend time with him. Every Sunday it's church, me and Zane. And that's my Sundays. And then where I can do bedtime. So, you find ways to work around it. Work, I'm very disciplined when it's my working hours. I do my job. So no one can ever say I'm not working. And I'm also, my nature is that way. If you're paying me to do a job, I want to do it well. So I make sure that I show up and I deliver how I'm supposed to. Then I fit everything else in by God's grace when I can.
I feel like sometimes when people look at me and they're like, you're like, I see you there, I see you here, or like you're doing a lot of things. I'm like, guys, from your point of view, it's a lot of things. For me, I'm like, it's a normal day for me.
Thank you. When you said that, I was like, I guess because we're so used to God equips people in different ways and he graces them to be able to hold multiple things and multitask. Now, don't worry, if you were in my house, you'd be like, this is like, how are you doing this and this? And then you're on this phone and doing this. But he's graced me to be able to do it.
There's a grace for that, like we were talking about.
Not everyone can do it.
So for me, I'm just like, this is a regular thing for me. And I'm usually like, not really, because in my eyes, and I also know my capacity. Because we've taken our time. I feel like on your journey, you need to take out time to know yourself properly. I do know when I'm running low. And I know when I need to hibernate a little bit and when I need to be out. These days, I've been pushing myself to go out a little bit more because
from the social side.
Because I've been like on my own for too long. But then it was also a healing season for me. So I was just like quietly, like just getting things in. But I think you need to know yourself enough and know when it's a season for you to like, this is what is my priority now. Another season, another thing becomes a priority, but then it all fits, it somehow all fits.
You get it. That's it.
But just a word of encouragement, very brief, short word of encouragement to anyone listening to us who's like going through life and seasons and transitions, and maybe they've probably hit a wall and they're like stuck. They're like, what do I do from here?
That's good. And I like those questions because I've been through it and I like to be realistic with it. You hear things, you're like, oh, it's okay. Time is a healer. You'll get through it.
Do it.
Just keep on pushing. I can't actually get out of bed because I'm mentally exhausted or I'm scared or I'm like consumed in anxiety. I think there is an element of responsibility for yourself. And sometimes that's hard to think, oh, I need to, but there's help. My biggest thing is seek the right type of counsel or help that can lighten the load. So, when I went through divorce, was like, I've never done therapy before. I just need an outlet because I was isolating a lot.
Yeah.
I need somewhere healthy that I can go and speak through how I'm feeling and unravel.
Yeah.
So that was my help. It took a lot of effort to, after work, drive to Jumeirah in this Dubai traffic and go and sit and speak to a therapist. But I knew it was going to help me. So I think you have to just take that one step of like, what do I need now? How am I feeling? And what do I need? And if I can't find it in myself, can I find that one person or thing or book or whatever it may be to help me work through? Because it is going to take, action as well as also being quite honest to yourself and say, I need support or a community. And I think that's the only way I've been able to navigate. And even now, even there's times as a solo mother, I'm like, okay, I need help to understand what's the best thing to do for Zayn in this season now.
Then you go ahead and...
Exactly. Or I'm trying to do this with Let's Talk DXB. Who can help me get to the next bit? And I wasn't always good at asking for help, but I've realized in safe spaces, it's important. So I encourage people to know just one thing, even if it's just one thing that can kind of help you, and you just focus on that one thing, move on to the next, because otherwise it's overwhelming.
I love that you said find the proper.
It has to be said. I agree. Discernment is needed when it's sensitive as well.
Sometimes we miss out on that point, just like go everywhere and do everyone. I'm one of those people, like I sift it out. I'm like, I trust some voices, not all voices, because I've gotten confused at one particular point in my life with like everyone else telling me what to do. And I'm also choosing to trust my own voice.
I was going to say
and God's, and then the few people that I actually put weight on.
That's so important. I think also, sorry, I should have, a big part of me in the decision that I made, because I filed for divorce. So I knew all of the things that would come with that in the sense of I'm the one leaving, but I had to sit by myself and sit and really feel about, how does this feel? Is this safe for me to do this? As hard as it's going to be, but what is my inner self telling me? What is God telling me around this? Because once you've got that grounding,
you can move.
Whoever, 1,000 aunties, uncles, whatever that noise is, you will fully know that your decision is right, as difficult as it is.
And people will always have opinions.
Oh my goodness.
You do the right thing, you do the wrong thing.
Even if you asked for it or not. Oh my goodness. I didn't ask you what I should do with my life.
So at some point, like for me, I've totally given up. I'm like, okay, everyone else has an opinion. I'm going to do what I want to do.
What is my opinion?
What is my opinion?
And what is God's opinion?
But Sharon, thank you so much for coming here to share, for making time.
Thank you for having me.
I love this time so much, and I just really pray and hope that please go back, rewatch it, because I think I've learned so many amazing things and took out some nuggets. So guys, thank you so much. I'll have all of Sharon's details and links wherever you can find her. Everything will be in the description of this episode. God bless you guys so much. In the meantime, be kind, be loving. Go get the things that you need to get. Some more action, and then everything else will follow. God bless you guys. See you next week. Bye.
Oh, this was so easy. I would have gone for ages.